Hello humans, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, we shape and polish gemstones using a dremel. If that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing. Today we're going to be working on this piece of rainbow lattice sunstone from Australia. And the beginning weight of the stone, when we weigh it out, is 10.21 carats. And when we measure it, it is 18 millimeters long ways, 12 millimeters fat ways, and 6 millimeters tall. When we shine a flashlight through it, you can see it's pretty clean, but we do have a few kind of cracks going on, so we'll see how that shows up in the finished piece. If you guys want to see how this stone is shaped and polished into a jewel, keep on watching. So starting off, I wanted to try to make it a bit of a square cabochon with rounded corners if I can help it. And this is a new bit that I got from Suva Lapidary. This is a 110 grit barrel-shaped diamond sintered bit. And so far, I really do like this bit. It's a lot better and smoother feeling than the bit that I have been using for a while off Amazon. But onto the shaping, the sides of the stone had a bit of a kind of angle going on to it, so I wanted to flatten those out. So I started by getting those nice and flush by turning it around, kind of grinding off the tip of where the angle went, and then flipping it back the other way to get it nice and flat, and then finally grinding it long ways to make sure that it is fully even all the way around. And then I started working on flattening out the back, as you can see here, and I chose to make the back the part that had more of a bulbous kind of piece on it, only because I knew that since there was kind of a crack running underneath that part, that could get in the way of it if I decide to make that the face and give it a dome in that direction. And also I saw a bit brighter color on the other side, so I flattened that out, and then I started by doming the other side by first making it flat, and then I worked on the corners of the edges to kind of smooth them out, working them back and forth between the side and in towards the face of the stone. And then I kind of worked on making it flatter again, because I didn't want to get too high of a dome on this, because it is sunstone, and the last time I did sunstone, it kind of had a cat eye effect when I made it a really high dome. So I wanted to make sure that this one is a nice flat dome, but I still wanted a dome on it. But overall, sunstone most of the time works out better if it doesn't have too high of a dome. I notice a lot of the sunstones that I see online, shaped and turned into jewelry, have a flatter face. So since this is only my third sunstone I'd been working on, I thought I'd give that a shot. And this is what the shape we ended up with is, and you can see that it's nice and even, and it's a pretty flat dome, but not too flat. Moving on to my Nova points here. When you're working with such a large stone and you want to get it nice and flat, it's really important to turn the stone around at all times, and make sure that you're working in circular motions, and making sure that you hit the edges of the stone as well, because sometimes it's easy to want to work in circular motions but you're only hitting the middle, but you really need to make sure that you're hitting all of the sides and all of the edges as well, just to make sure that we get a good polish overall as we're working through it. Now I am dipping in water the whole time that I'm working with this, and in the beginning, I had kind of a worry that one of those cracks was going to come through and show itself in the face. Now, a lot of sunstone has these natural healed fractures, but when you finish the stone, if one of those healed fractures is in the face, it just creates kind of an uneven texture, and when you kind of move the stone to get the shine of the gloss on it, you can just see that where that crack is, there's a divot there, you know, because there's a crack. So there wasn't a huge problem with that in this stone, luckily, and I'm pretty happy about that. But as you're moving through the Nova points, you're going to want to really make sure to wipe it off and make sure it's dry in between to check and make sure that you have fully gotten all the scratches out of it, especially here at the pink Nova point. You can get away with kind of letting some of the scratches by, but you really need to make sure that you're checking it by the pink point and spending more time on each one. Now, moving on to the polish, I'm using the same felt tips that I've been using for a few years now, and I'm using a diamond lapidary paste that is wax based, and I'm just being sure to move in circular motions the whole way through. Now, Sunstone also has a bit of an interesting history as well. The Greeks believed that it had fallen from the sun during a solar eclipse to be a gift from them. The Egyptians thought that it was a representation of their sun god, and it would invigorate their physical body. And the Vikings had been known to use its refractive properties to be a compass for them to sort of guide them through the seas. Native Americans believed the stone had healing powers, and that the blood of a warrior would drop onto the stones and he would be wounded and the spirit would be transferred into the stones, coloring them red. As you can imagine, back then, sunstones were worth a lot more than they are now in the grand scheme of things, until in 1837 when they were documented. Now they can be found all over the world, in Sri Lanka, India, Norway, Canada, Mexico, Russia, China, Australia, and Oregon in the USA, where it is Oregon's official gemstone. It is a 6.6 on the Boss hardness scale. One of my personal favorite things about Sunstone, especially rainbow types of Sunstone and the lattice Sunstone, is I really like how the lattice Sunstone will kind of have like intersecting lines going through it. I think it's really interesting, and when you're shaping Sunstone, when you polish it, when you kind of hit those metallic pieces of the stone, it will leave a little divot in the face of it, so no matter how much you try to polish it, those little divots are going to be there, and it can be pretty misleading for the shaper, but if you just know that that's gonna happen, it's alright, you know, just a little heads up there for you guys. But as you're going through these polishing grits, it's important to try to keep a firm grip on it. I will kind of tuck a corner of it underneath my nail and grasp it firmly, and then I'll continue to move in a circular motion and just check it in between, you know, keeping in mind that there's going to be those divots there, and it will get slicker the further in you go. And definitely feel free to use cerium oxide on your sunstones, just like you can with opal. It, you know, has a particularly desired finish about it. But this is what the stone looked like when it's finished, and I'm pretty happy with the shape of it. It's got good little tiny speckles going across it, and then I've got bigger metallic pieces going on. When we weigh it out, the finished weight of the stone is 5.47 carats. When we measure it, it is 15 long ways, 9 millimeters wide ways, and 4 millimeters tall. So when we do the math, we ended up losing 4.74 carats, but you can really see that there is a lot of kind of different colors going on. There's like pinks and blues and golds, and it's a really interesting, unique piece here. I kind of like how the reflective parts of the stone kind of have like a splotchy appearance. It's really interesting to me also how the kind of speckled golden kind of flash will go across it in different ways, but sometimes you could get them both at the same time. And the polish of it is pretty gosh darn good. You can kind of see what I was talking about with those divots in it, and that's totally normal. But overall, I'm really extra pleased with this stone. I like this stone even more than the last stone, and if I had a setting for this one, I would set it right now. I think I'm going to order one for it. And this is every time I dropped it. And I am doing a giveaway to celebrate 600 subscribers. So if you want to win, this is parcel A. Guess how many carats you think this parcel weighs. And then I'm also giving away a piece of Sunstone. And that last parcel was Ethiopian opal, by the way. And this is a piece of rainbow lattice sunstone. And again, just let me know in the comments how much you think the Sunstone weighs. And then this is Ethiopian opal parcel B. And same as always, let me know down in the comments how many carats you think this weighs. I will contact the winners through the comments section. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching this far, those of you who are still watching. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you have anything to say, I'd appreciate it if you would leave a comment. Share this with a friend if you have a friend to share this with, even if it's just one friend. You know, it would mean a great deal to me if you would share this and turn on notifications, and I'll see you guys next time that I post a video. Later!